Good morning everybody, good afternoon, good evening, welcome to my little creative corner here in Cumbria. Oh goodness me, I can't believe I'm doing another introduction. How many have I done this year? I've no idea. It's incredible really. Rolling on month to month, somehow finding some inspiration to share with you. It's just amazing, it's just magic. And I am so delighted to have you all here with me. I love it when you leave me a little comment. I've had some really nice conversations these last few weeks, some really fantastic things that people say. It's just so nice to feel like we are connected, we are friends, even though this is the internet and you know we may or may not ever meet in real life. It doesn't really matter. The fact is we're here and we're sharing this space together, and I love that I get to show you what I'm doing. It makes it so much more fun to do. I wouldn't be doing it without you, put it that way. It would be very different. And I just love making the films for you, and if it gives you a little bit of pleasure in your day, fantastic. And if it gets you inspired to go and play as well, go for it. Today I'm just going to be messing about with this piece again that I showed you last week. I haven't done a lot this week, I'll be honest with you. I've just been sort of catching up with myself, having not been very well, and I've just been very, very gentle and kind with myself because I just think that's the way to do it. I've rested a lot, but I have gone out for walks as well. It's been so bright, so cold, so crispy. I've just wrapped myself up and gone out into the field. I went to see the donkeys the other day, and I've been out for little walks down the road. And nature just keeps changing. I keep seeing so many beautiful things, and the light in the sky just keeps changing. We've got real winter going on now, and it's a great blessing because it's what I call proper weather, you know. You stay indoors and you keep snug, but you go outside and appreciate the crisp coldness, she says, having been wearing a hat in the house the last few days just to make sure. And I keep a degree of warmth because we don't put the heating on all the day because that's just, you know, ridiculous. It would cost us a fortune to heat this house. So we just have it on in the mornings and the evenings, and most of the time I sit by the arca in the kitchen, which is just the greatest boon known to mankind. It's our great saviour. If there's ever a power cut, we always have something to cook on and something to sit round and keep warm. Plus we've got the wood burning stoves, which if you've got a wood burner you know just how lovely they are, how cosy they are. So my husband and I sat and played Scrabble last night by the wood burner, and we had a really good time. It was just so, we haven't done that for absolutely ages, and I just said, oh come on. I think there's a tendency, I think, in the winter to snuggle in and watch a lot of screen time. It's very easy, isn't it, just to hand your brain over to the computer or the television or whatever. And last night we actually played a really good game of Scrabble and came up with some brilliant words. He's particularly good at it because he does crosswords, so he can see where all the little letters could fit in and make fantastic words. And I just sit there going, oh well, I've got no idea. I had 3 E's, 3 I's and an O, you know. Wasn't sure what I was going to make with that. So today we're going to carry on with this funny little piece, which is just a little bit of playtime. Don't know where it's going. I loved what everybody saw in it. Everybody saw something slightly different. There was a lot of wintry landscapes going on in it. A lovely North Yorkshire, well, Yorkshire moor sort of setting, and a Cumbrian one, but somebody else said springtime, and that's what I love, is nothing's right, nothing's wrong, and it's very much what you see. And that's what feeds our imagination feeds on what we see. And we're all individuals, and I just love that. So it's just over there on my table. It's been looking at me saying, come on, let's get on with this now. And so we're just going to take it and see where it takes us today. It's a very gentle process. Nothing's riding on it, and I just think that's very important, especially at this time of year when actually, to me, it's hibernation time. So thank you for joining me. We'll go over to my table and take this piece into wherever it's going. Who knows? So if you weren't here last week, this is what I created using some very tiny little scraps of these fabrics here. I had this gorgeous soft, I don't know what you call it, organza with 2 different patterns on it, and then I had some of this as well, which had all sorts of pinks and browns, and so I just chopped them up and I put them underneath my embellishing machine, and had some fun. So that's what's created this little surface. It's very thin, it's really rather delicate, but I really think it's very pretty. So my next stage is, I think I'm going to add a second piece, okay. So I was thinking, well, I could be adding something on at the side here. We could make a really long, thin piece, and it could be something that you could roll it up into something later on. It could be something like that. But actually, I think what it really would like is simply to have a top half. So I've just created this lovely foreground, and now we need to put something in the background, which helps. I think that helps keep it very simple. So I've just cut another piece of my cotton curtain interlining, and then I've been and had a little look at some fabrics to see what works with this. Now the thing is, these are very delicate colours. I kind of was thinking that might add into the mix, but I think it's just a bit too leery. So I've also got this, which is the most gorgeous looking fabric, and I feel as though that might just come into the mix somehow. I'm not quite sure how. Just looking at the colours, isn't that lovely? It's like striations in a rock, isn't it? And then the other thing I've gone for is something really very dramatic and dark. So I've got various, I'll just show you these, I've got various gorgeous, this is a lacy one. This is a really lovely lacy fabric. It's so dramatic, but it's purpley rather than black. And I've got this other lacy one as well, which I've used in various projects. And it's even got a lovely lining in a sort of a navy blue colour. So I'm just thinking about making something really dramatic, just very simple, but very dramatic, with perhaps a bit of this. So I'm just going to cut a chunk off this, just like that, because it's getting a bit unwieldy. And I was thinking, well, could be just something very simple. I'm just going to cut a strip and see what happens. Oops. I have to say, I'm not at my speediest at the moment. I'm working very slowly and very gently. But you see, that instantly gives a bit of oomph to this. And if I take my trusty old friend, which is one of these things, mounty thing, it sort of helps me to see possibilities. I love the way the light goes across there, I have to say, and I love the idea of this really, really dark thing there. Now whether we'd end up doing something else in the foreground as well, I don't know, but I'm going to mess around with these colours and perhaps embellish them down, or I may not embellish them, I may just stitch them. Lots of food for thought here. I have to say, I really love the way that's kind of leaping out at us there. There's something to be said for it. It's because I've got it on many layers, and I was trying not to get it sort of, if you like, on a straight and narrow. Let's just do that a minute. Let's just do that. Ooh, look at that. I just think this fabric is gorgeous because it's shiny and it's got this lovely stretch to it. There's so many things you can do with it. So I think we'll cut a little bit off this as well. And sometimes you've just got to do it, haven't you? You've just got to take the steps. You see, the thing is, if I embellish this down, this is going to lose this lovely pleated quality. And I really quite like the contrast of that with what's going on down here. And then if you add, I mean, this is not going to be dark enough because it needs a layer underneath it, really. What if, oops, sorry, I've got crowd control problems this morning with my fabrics. They're all getting a bit out of. Ooh, this is really what I would call horrid material. It's like nylon or something. I'm just going to cut a whack horrible material. Ugh. But I bet you any money it'll embellish quite nicely, potentially. So if I put that across the top of here, very badly cut, Emma, very badly cut. Needles. Let's just do that and that. So you see, you could be looking at saying, well, do I want something dark at the top, the light in the middle, and dark at the bottom even? You know, this could be a moorlandy thing with this rock strata kind of leaping out at you, and then something really dark in the foreground. I quite like that actually as an idea. I might have to get some different fabric for that top bit there. That doesn't quite... Oh, you see, now you see that's completely changed it. Instead of the eye going all the way up to the top, as it were, to say, oh, what's going on up here? And there's no right with this and there's no wrong with this. This could be either. And then you put that down there. Ah, look at that though. Now, I think that's quite magical. So, which way shall we go, ladies and gentlemen? This is the question. That's just almost too exciting. Now, that's all come about because I've cut 3 more little pieces of fabric and I've been prepared to play around with them. I mean, you could take it beyond that. You could be moving this down to the foreground, I guess. You could do something like that. But I think you lose that then. I think you lose the joy of that bit there. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to have a play around with this and then we'll see where it's going to take us next. Isn't that exciting? Gosh. So what I've done to try and sort of balance things up is I've cut myself a bigger piece of background. It's as wonky as anything, but I don't mind because everything's wonky on this little piece. And I've cut myself this, what I call horrible slimy fabric, which I really don't like as a fabric, but it works as a colour on the back there, I think. It's quite light reflective, so it's not too intense, because I think too intense would be too much of a contrast, don't you think? So, and I've cut myself a piece of this lovely stuff. I've kind of trimmed it off, and that's going to be like as though, I feel as though it's like a cliff, as though we're out at sea or something, and we're looking back at the land, or we're looking at a cliff across a lake or something. And I'm not quite sure how it's going to be stitched yet, but I am just playing around with possibilities here. And I've added a little bit extra of this because I wasn't quite sure how much I want of anything. It's all to do with ratios, proportions, and what your eye sees and how your eye likes what it sees. This is what it's all about for me. So I've cut myself 2 pieces of this lovely dark lacy stuff, and I'm just going to sort of pop it down there because I wasn't sure how much of this sort of flowery one I wanted to show in terms of balancing it up with this top bit. And actually, I don't think I do want that. I think that's too much. So I might just be putting that on there like that and trimming that away a bit, I think. But I definitely think two bits of the lacy stuff is quite nice because then you can have it with a bit of the background showing through possibly. Or I'll just really double it up and make sure it's really quite dark and intense to balance up with that. So I'm going to sort of pin these on very simply, and it's developing, it's becoming something. I'll have to be very brave and stitch it down. I decided I'm not doing any more embellishing on it. I think it's quite nice to have a contrast between this sort of embellished foreground bit with all the sort of mingling of colours, and then having just the simple plain whatever and however that's going to be stitched and however this is going to be stitched. I don't entirely know yet, but I'm just trying to assemble it so I can see and we can see roughly what it's going to look like. So I have got myself another one of these things. This one's a square one. I thought that might be easier possibly to see if I get it in the right sort of place. You can perhaps see that makes more sense to me, and it's a question, as I say, of ratio, whether you have kind of less in the foreground or more of the background or whatever, you know, it's just whatever pleases your eye. That's how I work. I don't know about you, but I work on what pleases my eye, what makes my heart sing, and this is going to be fun to do, fun to stitch down. I think it's quite nice that I've got a sort of a double layer here. That kind of makes that come into the foreground because it's got the 2 layers of the cotton curtain interlining. I'll need to put some stabiliser on the back of there so that when I stitch it, it doesn't get ruckled up when I stitch. So I'm going to leave it there for today because I think to do the stitching would be a bit too much to try and do all of that today. So I'm going to save that up. My goodness, it'll be 2025 before I'm back. I wish you all a very peaceful week or 2, whenever it is. I'll be back on, I think the 8th of January is about the Wednesday, I think, in 2025, which sounds very odd, doesn't it? So I'm going to leave that for today, as I say, and I wish you all a very peaceful couple of weeks, and I will see you again very soon in my Creative Corner. I hope you'll have a wonderful time, and it brings peace and joy to your heart, whatever it is you're doing. I'll say thank you very much for joining me here. Thank you for your year with me. If you've been here a whole year, thank you, and beyond. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.